Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Covering both sides of the big issues with the analysis you trust on News Radio 1040 WHO.
People are more likely to share information on the internet if it sparks moral outrage. Let's talk to an expert on branding and trust. You know him, you love him, he's back on the Davison Family Dentistry Newsmaker line. Scott Baradell. Scott, welcome back to WHO Radio. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so Scott, I have a theory about this, but I want to hear from you first. Why do you think people are more likely to share on social media disinformation?
Well, it's a couple things going on. They only share the kinds of information that are going to play to the narratives that they already believe. So there's an element of confirmation bias there, but there's also this need to kind of be part of a group. There's kind of a tribalistic element to it, and it works. I mean, the social media influencers know it gets clicks, and we used to talk about clickbait. Now we talk about rage bait, and it works.
And that was my theory, Scott, that I think that people have a preconceived bias, and they'll see a story that plays that bias, and then they're unwilling to check it. They just they just go ahead and share it, and as you also hinted, Scott, it gets people a lot more attention. So do you think that they don't really care if it's accurate or not, as long as they're getting attention?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's true in a lot of cases. I mean, ultimately, you can theoretically lose, your audience as a creator online if you are consistently sharing inaccurate information. But the reality is, it's much more important to share information that people agree with if you're trying to build an audience, and accuracy is secondary.
You're listening to an expert on branding and trust, Scott Baradell, on News Radio 1040 WHO. And Scott, that's a key here. You're an expert on trust. Is this going to be an issue for people that try to use social media to promote a brand or promote themselves, that people start to lose trust in what they see? Is that going to be an issue for somebody who's legitimately trying to brand or market on social media?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to know your audience. You have to know that if you're going to, apart from misinformation, if you're going to go out there with a strong point of view, it's going to alienate people, and so you better know who your supporters are, who your fans are, who your customers are, and if you don't keep good track of that and understand that, you could be out there with things that are controversial that alienate people and hurt your brand.
Scott, you also reminded me with your earlier comments the saying, nothing unites people more than a common enemy. And is it true that it's becoming an increasing feature of social media that people like to group around their outrage about something? Is this a trend that's going to continue?
Yeah, absolutely, and it goes beyond social media. You can look at from the last 10 years the rise of Donald Trump. I think a lot of the emergence of the MAGA movement was built around the enemies that were part of Donald Trump's kind of narrative. Is these are the people that are hurting the country, and that can motivate people more than Morning in America kind of thing. The Ronald Reagan stuff was great, but what Donald Trump has been doing is working in 2024. That's for sure.
He's an expert on branding and trust. His name is Scott Baradell. Scott, thanks for your insight this morning. Thanks for talking to us.